In this demonstration, we'll create and configure server level and scope level policies. On server 1, we already have DHCP installed and authorized, and we also have an existing activated scope with a start IP address of 172.16.0.100 and an end IP address of 172.16.0.200. We'll now create a server level policy by going to the IPv4 node, then right click on policies and clicking new policies. Our first task is to give it a name, and as we're going to create a MAC address policy for the LON Client 2 virtual machine, we'll name it LON Client 2 Client MAC address server policy. We then have to determine the conditions of the policy, i.e. who or what the policy will apply to. The criteria, we'll select MAC address, the operator will be equals, and the value will be the MAC address of the client, which we've determined earlier on. Next, we need to define the settings of the policy and what values you wish to configure and have applied to the client. For vendor class, we'll have DHCP standard options. The option we'll choose here will be the 04 time server option, and we'll specify a server name of LON DC1. Click finish. We can now look at the policy we just created. By right clicking it, now we have the ability to move policies up or down. We only have one policy created in this instance, so those options are grayed out, and we also have the option to disable the policy if we wish. We'll now create a scope level policy, again based on the LON Client 2 MAC address. You want to create policies and select new policy. Again, we need to first give the policy a name, and given we'll be specifying an IP address to be applied to the client, we'll call it LON Client 2 IP scope policy. As before, we need to specify the conditions. Here it'll be MAC address equals and the MAC address which we have from earlier on. And then we need to specify the settings, and here we can specify a range which an IP address to be taken from to allocate it to the client. We'll specify between 172.16.0.101 and an end IP address of 172.16.0.105. Now we can specify an option value to assign to the client, and in this instance we'll choose a default gateway or router, and we'll use LON-RTR as the router. Click finish. If we look now at the policies being applied to the scope, we can see both the server level and the scope level policies that are being applied to this particular scope.